Hi, I'm Pete from Gear4music, and today we've got Andy with us here to talk about exciting new things from Roland. So Andy, what have we got?
So we have in front of us here the brand new Roland V-Stage. So we have two models, the V-Stage 88, which is the one that we have in front of us here with 88 keys, hammer action keyboard. And we also do the V-Stage 76, which is 76 keys, waterfall style keyboard. But I'll get into that in a little bit. This is a brand new product for us. It's not replacing anything that we currently have in the market. We already do a couple of products for the professional stage keyboard player. So we do the RD2000EX, which is predominantly aimed at
stage piano kind of thing.
Yeah, acoustic piano kind of tones. And then we also do the Phantom EX range, which is very much for like musical directors and producers, where we cover pianos, electric pianos, organs, strings, and every other kind of type of
big
sound.
Sort of sound design, workstation.
And a huge emphasis on synthesizers and stuff. There are also customers out there who are professionals who perhaps rely on a smaller set of sounds. So maybe just focusing on acoustic piano, electric piano, tone wheel organ, synthesizers. And although we cover those in things like Phantom, perhaps it offers a little bit too much, more than they need.
Yeah.
And this type of customer, they tend to like quite a hands-on approach.
Yeah, I was kind of impressed by how much hands-on control there is, or it seems to be on this. It kind of looks familiar, but let's not talk too much about that. But yeah, this looks very much like a product designed for live use.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it's made for live professionals that work with those sounds. So sort of taking a look at the front panel, as you said, we've got loads of hands-on control. Yeah. We've got 4 sort of main sound engines, and these are all sort of cutting edge technologies from us. So we have a tone wheel organ section. We've got an acoustic piano section, really nice color LCD screen, for controlling everything.
Yeah.
Got a really great dedicated electric piano section with lots of controls for effects built straight on the front panel.
Yeah, that's quite a comprehensive section for electric piano, isn't it? It's like...
Yeah. So we do sound design, effects, tremolo, amp sim, which is great. We have a great synthesizer section as well, which covers not only synth sounds like pads and basses and leads, but also things like acoustic strings and brass and all of those really commonly used tones for live performance. Then we've also got a great total effects section and also a master effects section for EQ and compression and a microphone.
And a mic in as well.
So it's very easy, intuitive control, lots of hands-on control, so you can just grab things in the moment and sort of tweak around there. We've got a great selection of comprehensive inputs and outputs.
Yeah, it feels very gig ready.
Yeah, so built for professionals, so proper great sort of metal kind of enclosure from it, really solid construction.
Feels really good, but it's not super heavy either.
No.
We're bringing this in today, it's like, you could load this into a gig quite happily.
Exactly.
And I'm assuming as well, this 76 is going to be quite a bit lighter, not having the hammer action keys.
Yes,
so it's the same keyboard that's in loads of Roland pianos and stuff like that.
Yeah, so in this one, the 88 model, so the keyboard that we've got in here is the PHA4, which is what you would find in the RD88AX and also the FP60X.
Yep.
And we've specifically chosen that actually after a lot of feedback from working with artists on developing this product as the most appropriate action for all of the sound engines.
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, talking about the distinction between the product, so with RD2000, which is made for primarily acoustic piano players, if you play in an acoustic grand piano, compare the action of that to sort of a real Rhodes piano and also an organ, they all have a different feel.
Yeah, totally different instruments.
Exactly. And what's great about this action is it's incredibly responsive for piano. So it has synthetic ivory feel, it has escapement, which is great. But at the same time, it feels great for electric piano. If you're using it for organs, you can still do your sort of key slides.
Yeah, you're not going to cut the side of your hand off and just have blood everywhere, which is quite nice. Because I think the RD2000EX has the PHA50, which has got the wooden sides on it, things like that.
Yeah. So PHA, which is a full wooden action, which again is phenomenal for acoustic piano playing, but it's less ideal for things like organ and synth playing as well.
This is more of an all-rounder.
This is a great, all-rounder action, and we've specifically optimized it as well for this product so that it works really as flawlessly as it can do, really.
Yeah.
In the 76 key model, we have a brand new waterfall style keyboard. We've not got it here today, unfortunately, but that's brand new for Roland. It's not been appeared in any other product.
Yeah, so that hasn't been sort of dragged out of something else and repurposed. It's fully new for this range.
Exactly. And on the back panel for professionals, so we have balanced XLR outputs. We have
so no DI boxes or anything like that. Just straight in. Yeah.
We have standard outputs, a sub output, line input, XLR microphone input. You can connect 2 USB keyboards for MIDI controls. So say if you wanted something else for a top tier keyboard, you can do. We've got class compliant USB audio to your computer.
Excellent.
2 MIDI ins, sorry.
So USB-C as well?
Yes, USB-C, sorry, yeah. 2 MIDI outputs and a MIDI in.
Proper MIDI.
Proper MIDI.
5-pin
MIDI as well.
in MIDI, yes.
And 4 pedal controls as well, so plenty of control and IEC.
And IEC, yeah, which is surprisingly exciting in products like this.
It shouldn't
the
be,
worst
but
thing
it
that
is,
you can get is you get to a gig and it's like, I've left half my power supply at the last venue, or, you know, just something's gone wrong with those like laptop style power supplies. It's like, put a kettle lead in it.
Exactly.
Put an IEC in it.
Exactly. And keeping it sort of gig ready in terms of sounds. So we have a great selection of preset scenes, which could be one sound or a combination of sounds. And these have all been specifically curated with live performance in mind. So the sounds are prepared in a way that they'll cut through a mix on stage. And you know, obviously you can customize them to your own requirements, but they're all gig ready. You know, we've chosen preset sounds that we think are going to be commonly used on stage. Yeah, relevant for live performance, which is great.
So yeah, the whole scene interface should be sort of fairly familiar to you if you've used other Roland products before. It's kind of how your architecture works. Which, it's pretty good. It's pretty intuitive, I always find. But should we talk sound engine? Should we talk what this sounds like?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm just going to navigate to a preset scene, which is kind of like a blank setup on here. And you can see on the front panel, so we have a dedicated section for each of the sound engines. And everything from this point is really hands-on and easy to use. If I wanted to turn on a sound engine, I press the on-off button. If I want to bring on the organ, I do that, and so on. So we'll start left to right, really. We'll talk about the organ. So both the tone wheel organ and the acoustic piano section have unlimited polyphony. So you're never, ever going to worry about running out of notes on stage. The electric piano and synthesizer section, they share 256 voices. So again, tons and tons of polyphony.
You're not going to... Nobody's doing anything that's going beyond that.
Exactly. And talking about the organ section, so this is a virtual tone wheel organ, so completely modelled. It's sort of a further developed model than we'll have in the Phantom. Yeah,
because that came out as a like an expansion for the Phantom, didn't it?
Yeah, so this is
a while ago. So this is a new version of that.
New version of that. Built upon that, we also have a brand new rotary speaker effect on it.
Cool.
There are 4 distinct organ models on here. So we have a virtual tone wheel organ. We have 2 types of transistor organ, and also a pipe organ for church organ style music. And a full selection of harmonic bars on here.
Nice draw bars.
Exactly, good physical controls. There are also 3 parts. So we have, for your organ, so we have an upper manual, lower, and also a pedal. And these can be split across the keyboard, or if you are using external keyboard controls, they can be
separate
keyboard on there, let's say we have a brand new sort of rotary speaker effect with drive controls, and you've got loads of control in the menu about speed up time. If you're using the brake, you can choose what angle or position it brakes at, and all this kind of stuff. So with lots of detail on those. We have percussion and controls for vibrato and chorus as well. We've got 2 sets of controls actually for the rotary speaker. So we do at the end here have quick controls for the speed and a brake control. But if you, for instance, if you're not using the organ as much, you can control them over here, and these can be reassigned to do other functions.
They're not locked to being those rotary controls.
No, for instance, so actually like a common thing is maybe a lot of players might use the speed, but maybe they never use the brake control. So you could reassign that one button to do something else, which is pretty cool. And
again, very, very kind of gig ready. Just
exactly
ready for live performance stuff.
Yeah, and for each of the sound engines, if you can sort of browse through your favorites quickly with the control on the front here. But if I push it in, this brings up a menu here which shows you all of the preset sounds.
Yeah.
So we have different categories of sounds. Our tone wheel and 2 types of transistor and the pipe organ. And then we also have different subcategories of those, and then other presets. And each of these can be sort of customized, obviously, to your own kind of personal taste, really.
Yeah. And so you were saying about the favorites idea.
Yeah, so with your favorites, so as I say, maybe actually I'll show you that with the acoustic piano.
Yeah.
So if we have a quick jump over to here, so to the acoustic piano section. So the acoustic piano section, again, is completely modeled. So this is using our V-piano technology. And you have 4 types of piano.
These always sound great as well.
Yeah,
really
absolutely.
good sounding pianos.
And we have 2 grand pianos. So we have the V-stage grand, we have the German concert grand, which we did add to the Phantom EX and RD2000. And then we have an upright piano and also a brand new felt piano as well, which is really nice.
That sounds lovely.
Yeah, they're really popular these days. So talking about favorites, so again, we can browse through our favorites on the front if I press my tone list on here. So here we've got our main category of grand or upright and our subcategories, and then these are all of our presets over here.
Yeah.
If there are particular ones that I like, so you see they've got German concert, which is starred.
Yep.
If I like this one, let's say calm focus, if I do shift and press my select button, that adds a star into it there. And now if I'm on my main screen, this will appear in my favorites. So if I go from German concert, and then that calm focus is in there.
Yeah.
So when you go to a new scene and you want to get your sounds quickly.
Get there really quickly.
Exactly. And if you're, as well as selecting sounds on here, if you want, you can also import sounds from other scenes as well. So if you like a preset in a particular scene and you want to import that, you can do that as well.
Bring that in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's nice. I like that. Like the menus don't seem cluttered. There's no kind of. Sometimes you get product. I mean, I look at the Phantom now, and I'm just like, right, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly.
But this just looks so intuitive to kind of get around. Which, again, I keep saying it, but kind of heat of the moment, you don't want to be on stage and think, I have no idea where I am here.
Yeah, exactly.
You need to be able to get around quick.
And that's the great thing is the controls that you grab, they're there for that in mind. So with the acoustic piano sort of in mind specifically, is we have a quick control for brightness. So if you're on stage in a mix, I mean, we have an EQ at the end, but if you just want to quickly get a little bit brighter or a little bit darker, you can do. Again, stereo width, if you're doing a solo piano performance, you might want that have all the way out, so you've got a really nice wide sound. But then if you're in a band,
sit in a mix,
collapse it to mono, and it'll cut through really, which is nice. We also have a piano designer. So one of the big things with V-piano technology is that it's not modeled. So we're not, I mean, samples are fantastic. They give you a great snapshot of a sound.
Yeah.
But there's certain things that you, just like a photograph compared to video, there's certain things that you just can't capture in a sample. And being completely modeled, it means that we can model things like the phase interaction between strings and so many other great parameters. And the dynamic range that you get is phenomenal. It's really, really great. I would encourage anyone, sit down and play with this in the store if you can to get a feel of it. But it does mean that we have a piano designer and we can customize all kind of things with that. So we can change things like the lid height. We can.
So this is the same as like the piano designer that you get on a lot of the Roland home pianos. Yeah.
So, and again in the RD2000 and the Phantom as well.
Yeah, it's all in there.
So if I wanted to crank up, say something like the string resonance, which is it allows you, if I carefully push down some strings on here, it's as if those virtual dampers are held up, and I hit another string. And we hear that harmonic of it hitting other strings, which is great. The hammer noise, if I take this down, if you hit the top key a few times.
Oh, yeah.
You can really get that kind of knocking effect out of it. and key off resonance.
You could make a really bad sounding piano with this,
if you
which
wanted
is probably
to,
what I would do.
But I think one of the great things as well of these things is we can change the tuning of individual keys, also the volume or the character of individual keys. And in a way, this is, I always think with changing the character, it's amazing how much just changing one note, I think, just seems to change the whole feel of the keyboard. So got E here, if I play. If I change the character of that up one. Just changing one key.
Yeah, it changes the whole kind of resonance of that chord.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, obviously, if you apply that to certain, we've got quite a wide range of values that you can go through for each individual key.
Yeah.
And combining that across, sort of selected different points, you can really make,
So there is deep editing in here if you want it.
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't have to use it. You could just never, ever touch this. But
no, we have loads of great presets of individual sounds. And as I say, there's this great new felt piano as well. Let me just...
I'll tell you this.
Which I know James will give us some great examples on, but these are really popular sort of... They're really
kind
nice.
of muted, sort of warmer sound.
Really subtle, which is great. And obviously,
and this is all new, just for this.
Just for this, brand new for this. So as well as customizing all the sounds, we have loads of great presets in there, which you can get to grips with, which is fantastic. One thing as well I should quickly mention, specifically with the V piano, is. So on V stage, we have scene remain across all of the sounds. So if you're on stage and you're holding a chord, and then you move to another scene, everything will be held naturally and decaying. So let me just give you a quick example of that.
Right. So we're not going to get that kind of jump.
No, exactly. Yeah. But crucially, for the first time as well in a Roland product, it works with the V piano engine. So because the V piano technology is very processor intensive, it has to run on its own chip. So on RD2000 and Phantom EX, sadly, we don't have scene remain on that one type of tone, but we have an extra processor in here, which means I can hold a chord on V stage and then go to a different scene, go to my felt, and that first sound is still decaying, and I'm still playing another V piano tone.
Yep.
So whenever you're on stage, you don't have to worry about any sound dropping out, which is fantastic.
Keep the show on the road, man.
Exactly.
Cool. Well, shall we have a look at electric pianos? Because this looks pretty cool to me. I love EP sounds, so it's quite interesting to me that this is quite a lot of products you get. It's like electric pianos either tagged on to acoustic piano, or it's a little, tiny little strip of controls there. This looks really, between this, it's second only the organ on here.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that was the thing actually in developing this. We consulted with lots of professional artists, and one of the major points of feedback we got from them was they wanted more dedicated space and control for electric pianos for that exact reason. So that's what we decided to do. Really, is to give them their own, basically give them the section they deserve. So in the same kind of way, we have quick controls for selecting our tone, and then dedicated MFX and tremolo and amp sim controls. So just like the acoustic piano, we can sort of quickly go through our favorites. So we have time pianos, reed, digital, and clavinets. But again, pushing the tone select button in here, we can see that we have actually quite a few different types of electric piano. So we have a few of them, are brand new as well for Roland. So the Silver Top, which is sort of a real early 60s sort of electric piano.
Yeah, you'll know it when you hear it.
Yeah. And then the 74 and also the Dyna EP, I think are completely brand new models for this.
74, 75, 76. Yeah, there's like loads of different different models in there.
And they all sound very, very different. Let me just quickly sort of...
go for it, man. real depth to those sounds as well.
So they all have their own kind of individual character. And the other thing as well is that we have really great modeling of all of the things like mechanical noises.
Yeah, you can hear that.
Those kind of key clicks and
that
things.
clunk.
Yeah, which we can customize, and I'll show you in a second on that. So all of those built in, and just like on the acoustic piano section, we've got great preset sounds, which include different types of effects and things depending on what kind of thing that you like.
Yeah.
And again, if you like particular ones, you can star them for your own favorites, so you can quickly find them there, which is nice. As I say, again, in sort of a piano designer function, if you hit menu and our section, our on-off button, this will take you to the piano designer for the electric piano.
Electric piano designer.
Yeah. You can go in, you can change the overall instrument that you're using, but then you have control over the amount of bell tones, the key off resonance, the mechanical noise, things like the damper noise. I could crank that up. You can really hear that with the foot pedal.
That's great,
which is cool.
Here's something that it really shouldn't do.
Exactly, yeah.
But that's what makes these things kind of real, isn't it? You know, it's got all of the eccentricities of these strange old pianos in there.
Exactly. And we have a dedicated MFX section, but you can also change the positioning of that. So, for instance, if you're using like say a phaser or something, it'll sound different if we position the multi-effects before the amp as opposed to post
your amp.
Which is great. And talking of the effects, so likewise we have.
It's nice that it's got its own effects, so it's not just all kind of down here on the master effects.
So for we'll talk about the effects a little bit in depth actually of those, but just for its dedicated effects. So if I hold Shift, I can flip through my types on here. Or actually, if I hold menu and go in, you've got an even bigger choice of about 90 different effects that you can choose. Anything from univibes, phasers, flangers, all of the kind of standard effects that you would hope to find on there. And then also sort of controls for adjusting them straight from the front panel as well.
That's really good. Yeah, this feels like guitar multi-effects.
It is a little bit, yeah. And again, controls for your tremolo.
Very important.
You can adjust those from the front panel, and your amp sim as well. So if you want to add drive from the front panel plus your 2-band EQ, you can do as well. So really, really comprehensive in terms of electric pianos.
Yeah, that's really cool.
But it also includes reed pianos, digitals, clavinets as well. So loads of great stuff.
Yeah, excellent.
Synthesizers. So let's turn on this. So our synthesizer section, so we have 2 full synth layers actually, and this is the Zencore synth engine that you would find in like Phantom EX and loads of other products. And it comes loaded with about 500 sort of preset sounds covering all of the kind of most commonly used tones. So again, getting a lot of feedback from this type of professional customer of what kind of sounds they want to use in a live situation. Yeah,
because I think live synth is very different to kind of the sort of studio sound design world. It's there's not really that many sort of sounds that you're going to need, and you're on stage, you're playing, nobody's going to go, oh, well, that would just be a bit better if it was a slightly different filter on there. We're not going that in depth, really. You don't need to, but...
Well, certainly for this type of player, so we, again, getting the feedback from a lot of professionals is finding that it was the organ, the acoustic piano, the electric piano that they wanted the most sort of hands-on control and those kind of things. And that for a lot of these things that the synthesizer plays a bit of a supporting role. Yeah. So like we've chosen patches. I mean, I say synthesizer, but it includes sampled tones like strings and brass.
Right, yeah.
And
so you've got all the stuff that you would expect. It's like,
if I push the tone select on here, you can see it's divided in different, the sort of different categories, but we do have acoustic strings, samples, and then we also have orchestral and solo strings. We have things like pad sounds, lead sounds, bass, other keyboard sounds as well. So we also have things like some sampled pianos in there.
Right, yeah.
So if if you wanted to layer something like that with one of the V piano acoustic pianos you could do as well. So it's very flexible.
Yeah, so that engine's got quite a lot going on in that, really. Yeah, it's kind of the everything else.
Yeah, exactly. And as I say, we can have 2 full layers on them. So I have an A and a B layer. So if I flip over to B, I could turn that on as well, and I can have a separate sound for that. I can then also, if with a shift function, select them both, so I can control both of them at the same time. They're both at the same level, and you've got quick controls for cut-off and attack and release, and you can do resonance with a shift control on the cut-off. And its own MFX as well, so that you have control over those as well, straight from the front panel. And layering sounds together is super easy. If I have a piano and I want to layer in strings, I just turn on that section. I can use these to control the levels, the sort of individual levels.
Just mix it.
If you want to do a split of any sound, because we can have all of the layers active, say if I just quickly wanted my piano in the right and say synth in the left, I just hit right on the split on here, hit left on that, and then it's already done. We have strings and piano. I hold my split point, press any key. You can split it. So you can put
the split point wherever you want.
Exactly, yeah.
That's quick as well.
Yeah, very quick.
No sort of menu dive into getting into
No, and actually we've kind of done that. So again, even if you have all of your sections active, try to make it so that it's very quick to adjust split points. So if I wanted to adjust the split point, say of the piano, you hold split point and press the on-off button, and it'll only change the split point for that instrument. So again, trying to keep it as
intuitive,
quick as possible, and a shift function will reset the split points of everything back to being full. So nice and easy for live performance, which is good.
That's great.
In terms of effects as well, so we have a dedicated total effects section. So these can be applied globally across all of the parts, or you could just choose, say, to have it on the electric piano or the synthesizer on here. Likewise, we have, if you hold the on-off button and press the send, we can cycle through our different categories on here, or hitting menu, take us in. And again, we have 90 different effects that we can choose for over here. And then we also have a dedicated control for delay and also reverb. You can change the structure of how things are going. So at the moment, everything is going through the MFX, but I can change it so that, say it's only going on the electric piano, or say only on the synthesizer. I can change to the sub output for a particular thing. And if I'm using in this mode, we also have send levels for our effects. So if I want to control the delay amount. And when I'm, again, trying to keep it as hands-on as possible, when I'm in this send mode, now my level controls become the send amount. So I can change the send level for the delay, say just for the synth, and turn it down for the electric piano.
That just makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. So
nice.
Again, trying to make it, and everything is saved within the scene, so nice and easy to sort of get around, which is cool.
That's it. So that's super easy.
Yeah. And then right at the end there, we have a master EQ section. So just when you're just when you're on stage and you're in there and you feel like you just, don't have enough mid-range out of the PA, whatever you're doing today, just turn it on, grab that mid control and crank some of that.
Yeah, save having an awkward conversation with the sound engineer.
Exactly. And
not that would ever happen.
Yeah. And an on-off button for compression. Again, we can change sort of the parameters of that. We've got a standard compressor, we've got a FET 76 style compressor as well, with sort of a VU meter, which is nice. And if you are playing quite heavily, the LED will let you know if you're sort of like clipping. Which is quite good. One other thing I forgot to mention, actually, talking about little things like that for the electric piano, one of the controls is the sound lift.
I was going to ask you about sound lift. Yeah, what?
Sound lift.
Explain it to me, Andy.
Sound lift is kind of like, I would sort of describe it almost like upward compression in a way, where it's sort of grabbing the lower velocity notes that you're playing and increasing the volume, just so that you've got a more consistent sound on stage. It doesn't ruin your dynamics at all. If you play softly, it'll still keep that, but it just raises them. So even
Yeah.
just to kind of even out the tones that you're playing.
Very different to a sort of standard compression, isn't it? Like squashing everything
Exactly.
down.
So trying to sort of elevate things up, which is nice.
That's cool.
And
And that's available in the piano designer bit for that as well.
Oh, it
you
is.
Can set that for each individual.
For this is just for the electric piano engine.
Oh yeah, that's.
But for each of the instrument menus, you do have EQ and velocity and pitch controls.
Yeah.
And you can also send them through the master compressor as well if you want to even out.
I started this saying that this looks really easy to use, which it is, but it's like there's still quite a lot in here that you can do. So. Well,
exactly that. Really, it's just that if you want it to be in depth, you can do. You can really get in there and tweak things to your heart's desire. Again, I mean, there's stuff in the organ engine we didn't talk about, like it has its own reverb, which you can send into the rotary speaker to spin that round and things.
Yeah.
And also we have assignable controls as well. So if I go into the assign menu on here, I mentioned we've got 4 pedal inputs, but I can also assign these rotary controls or the modulation wheel. I can choose what I want them to be doing. So I have a foot pedal connected at the moment.
Yep.
And I have this assigned to on the scene. To advance to the next scene. So when I'm on stage, if I let me just go back to one. If I press this, it's just advancing through my patches on there. But also different things can be assigned. So say if I let me just jump to this one. So this patch on here, just to give you an example of things that are kind of assigned together. So this has the levels of certain instruments assigned to the modulation wheel, and also I think it's changing the cutoff on one of the synth pads. So when we just have a synth tone and then bringing in pianos on there as well, and taking them out again. So you can assign multiple different parameters for use on stage, which is cool.
That's very cool, isn't it? Yeah.
And then I guess the final point really for live performance, again, talking about the scenes is we have a couple of different things. So we have a scene chain mode, which is kind of like a set list.
Set list sort of mode, yeah.
Yeah. So if we're playing on stage, if I wanted to, I can go in and I can find whichever scene that I want to use, and I can just sort of build it up for sort of live performance.
Yep.
And then when I'm on stage and I'm in my chain, I can now select those just on here, or again using your foot switch to advance through them. And I think you can do up to 256 in a chain.
Okay, that's a very long gig.
Exactly, yeah. So you can quickly go through that way with all of your favorite sounds, which is great. But we also have another mode in there for which we call EX scene or extra scene.
Right, yeah.
And this is Shift and the scene select button, and we have 8 we call it, I suppose, live scenes that are constantly auto-saving.
Okay.
So if if you turn up to a particular like a jam night or something, and you're just choosing some sounds on the fly, whatever you do, these will be auto-saved. So let's say.
Okay. So if you make some changes to one scene, change to another scene, then it hasn't reset itself.
No, exactly. Yeah. So I can grab. I could say find
useful,
my favorite sound on there, adjust the brightness. If I go to my next scene and then say this one, I've got an electric piano, a couple of other different things, and I've changed those. I go back to this one. It's still on this calm focus. It's still remembered my brightness setting.
Yeah.
Even if I turn off the power and turn it back on, it'll remember that. So if you're someone that just likes to not even sort of dig into the things, and you just like to grab things and have them saved,
it'll stay where you want it to be.
Exactly.
There's nothing worse is that you like make a sound and then it's like, right, I want to go back to that. It's totally different.
Exactly.
Start over again. Yeah.
Exactly. So very, very cool for that. And then also if you get home from a jam night, you think, actually, I really liked what we'd done there. You can then save that as just a regular scene and recall it again. So you don't have to sacrifice that. You can use them again, really.
Fantastic.
I feel like I could probably talk all day about all of the little things, but maybe
I'm sure there's people that would like to hear you talk all day about all the different things, Andy.
But yeah, there's a huge amount of control in it, and As we're saying, really for this kind of professional customer where they're looking for these sort of dedicated sounds, dedicated controls for acoustic piano, electric piano, organ, some synthesizer tones, it's perfect. But again, not discounting the other products that we do. If you are a customer that sort of you want super amounts of control over your synthesizer section and things, maybe you want to consider the Phantom.
Yeah, it's a different thing. Phantoms are very in-depth, there's nothing that you can't do.
Basically, yeah.
But yeah, sometimes a lot of things that you don't need to do, especially in a gig.
And one last point, sorry, Roland Cloud I was talking about.
I was just going to say, there's no kind of external app for this, is there?
No.
Very much kind of, this is the unit.
Yes,
it's hardware. But there is some kind of cloud integration.
Yeah, so if you are a V-Stage customer and you register your purchase on Roland Cloud, you can download for free 4 synthesizer model expansions. So the Jupiter 8, Juno 106, JX8P, SH101.
Yeah,
and
I've got them in.
Yeah, if I go over to the synthesizer section, when you go to your tone select on here, at the bottom you can see expansion.
Yeah.
So I can go over and I can find my Juno 106 and browse through all of these extra preset patches that come with this, including a lot of original presets which were available on.
And these are kind of really in-depth models of these synths as well, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. You can even hear it modeling the hiss from the chorus here. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to use
well-modelled hiss.
Exactly. You can turn that off if you wanted to, but
never turn the hiss off.
Exactly. But then that's great is that you have access to, so each of these, normally you would purchase them for $149 each.
Yeah.
So all 4 of those are included free for V-Stage customers.
So you do have to, obviously, you'd still need a free Roland Cloud account. It's not one of these things that you don't have to pay for a subscription.
No subscription
required. A lot of times, as soon as you mention cloud, people are like, so I have to buy the hardware and then I have to pay extra. No, you don't have to pay for it.
No.
You just need a free cloud account and
Get
that'll let you
account.
access these things.
And you can download them and install
loads
them.
of extra stuff with it as well, though.
But we also do, again, for in Roland Cloud, we do over 100 different sound packs for the synthesizer section.
Yeah.
Or if you have any synth sounds that a friend has made on a Phantom or something like that, you can export those. You can load them in here.
Yeah,
so
because it's
really
Zencore architecture, so you can do all that sound design stuff if you want to, and then
load them in here as well. Yeah, which is fantastic.
So much you can do with it.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I feel that's like a pretty good rundown there of the V-Stage of everything that it can do. It's a phenomenal live instrument, really great hardware, great for using on stage, and we think people are going to really enjoy it. The best thing I can do is say get down to the Gear4music showroom, check it out for yourself, give it a try. And,
we're going to get James to do a bunch of playthroughs of all different sounds and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, you'll get a good chance to hear what it can do. But yeah. Well, thanks very much for coming in today, Andy, and giving us our first look at the new Roland V Stages. So we've got the 88 and the 76 that we'll have in stock very soon. And I'm sure we'll be seeing these on stages all over the place very soon as well.
Yeah.
So if you've enjoyed this, don't forget to like and subscribe, leave comments below. Thanks very much. See you next time.